Here's the next question that people always want to know.
I'm ready.
How much does it cost to do this? It's all about the money.
Such good news. This is so easy to answer. It's all free.
Welcome into another episode of Roane General Hospital's For Your Health podcast to discuss the Prescription for Your Health, this overall health and wellness program sponsored by Roane General Hospital. I'm your host, Andrew Miller, and I'm joined today by the director. We got straight to the head honcho here today, the director of the Prescription for Your Health program, Mrs. Kimberly Mertz. Kimberly, thank you for joining us here today.
Well, that is, it's just a title. It's really not true. It's all facade. There are lots of people at play here.
So you're saying that they drew straws and you're the one that got the pick for the director?
Something like that. Yes. But no, there are so many people that make this program work. So it is a title, but I am not the head honcho or anything like that.
So you're saying it's an absolute team effort. Well,
100%.
To take on something as overarching and as daunting, I would dare say just a really, really tough task as Prescription for Your Health, as we know what it is. So this program is something that Roane General Hospital has put together over the last few years, and the goal is to take a look at the numbers in Roane County. And, a lot of times people don't want to talk about numbers, especially when they come to numbers like this. So if you look at Roane County as a community, as a county in the state of West Virginia and in the nation, the numbers of overall health and wellness are not good in Roane County.
Right. Yeah.
So what has happened is Roane General Hospital, being a very community-oriented hospital, wanted to change that. And talking with Doug Mintz in the podcast we had, he talked about it's a huge goal, it's a huge undertaking, but it is something that they feel, or you guys feel, is incredibly important. If you're going to be a member of this community, you want to help change the overall mindset of the health and wellness here in Roane County. And the part that you guys are going to try to do is a big, big part. It is this Prescription for Your Health. Okay, so let's break that down, Kimberly. Prescription for Your Health.
Yes.
There are a lot of questions I'm sure that people have about Prescription for Your Health. Number one, what is it?
Sure, good question. And I think you hit on it. It's very ambitious. It's a very ambitious program, and it's also a bit progressive. We're used to a hospital saying, I go to the hospital when I'm sick. I'm being treated when I'm sick, rather than taking this more preventative approach or a maintenance sort of approach. So that's sort of how I see Prescription for Your Health, is that rather than your doctor prescribing treatment for an ailment, a sickness, a chronic disease, they are prescribing a form of a preventative measure or approach to keep you healthy or maintain your health so that you don't have chronic disease issues and that sort of thing, if you can kind of go into a maintenance sort of stage. So,
cutting off your nose to spite your face, by the way.
It's not a great business model, truthfully. However, and I think the leadership team probably would acknowledge that, and on the other side, acknowledge that their mission is to focus on the community and the overall health of the community.
So let's talk about your history coming into this position. Obviously, you said this is a team of people, but you provide a part of this team.
Yes.
And the way that you have approached this comes from your enjoyment, number one, of health and wellness overall, your athleticism, whatever it may be. I know that you're very involved right now. You still teach yoga lessons. Yeah. So your history, let's talk about why this is important to you,
Sure.
why you personally have made your way to this position, and why
Sure.
this is an important part of your life.
Yeah, I think that things have fallen together so that it has been meant to be, and it has been something that has happened for a reason with some sort of purpose in mind. I've always sort of viewed health and wellness as holistic. So it's not just, I was not in high school sports or anything like that, you know. I would not consider myself athletic. We did this
I don't know.
corporate,
I've seen yoga before.
well, we did this corporate cup thing this summer, and I would not describe myself as athletic. Let's just say that. However, mental health has always played into, you know, how I consider overall health and wellness for myself. And just according to my observations and that sort of thing. And then just so many other, your social health, you know, how are you sleeping? You know, all of these things really factor into health and wellness overall. So my background is, of course, I grew up in Roane County, never dreamt that I would be here, you know, still yet. And here I am. I went away to college. I studied communication studies and psychology and really got into that kind of, you know, getting into that scope of psychology and what that means, how to help people, you know, and work through different challenges that pop up in life for everybody. So that has kind of carved things and made a path towards. I worked with alcohol and drug counseling for a while. I worked in community corrections for quite a while as well too. It's nice to have a spot where people have the desire to feel better. And that's not always been the case. Sometimes I've worked with people that had to come see me and they may not have wanted to come see me.
You
and
like it
talk
when it's
about
not
things.
required.
Yeah. I mean, I think the goal then is to just kind of be a relief to them that you're just a person and you're wanting the best for them. And you're there to support that. But here within this capacity, it's more so as though people have the desire to be healthier, to be well, to feel better, to have a quality of life that's a little bit improved. And it's just hard to figure out how to make that work. So that's one of the goals of the program is to help people figure out, you know, what it is that would increase that quality of life for them, and then pair it up with something, some sort of intervention, some behavior, you know, support, whatever it is to make that happen.
I really enjoyed what you said about the mental health aspect
Sure.
of this. There is a growing crisis,
Yeah.
and a lot of times crisis is thrown around,
Mm-hmm.
you know, willy-nilly.
Right.
But I think that there has been and continues to be
Mm-hmm.
a growing problem with mental health in the nation, but
Yeah.
in rural areas like we live,
Mm-hmm.
with young children even,
Yep.
but with adults as well.
Sure.
And you being able to bring that knowledge and that experience that you've had to this situation, I think it's invaluable because I think that a lot of times people talk about health
Yeah.
and they think physical health, period.
Yes.
And mental health,
Exactly.
you know, we did a podcast with our CEO, Doug Bentz,
Yes.
and he was very open and honest about his own mental health journey that he continues to work through.
Yes.
And I thought that was really eye-opening, and I thought it was really important that someone of that level
Mm-hmm.
was able to bare his soul about mental health,
Yes.
because try to release that stigma from it.
Yes.
It is something that happens to a lot of us.
Yes, and we all have, you know, ups and downs in life. Life throws all kinds of things at us. So hopefully this is just one means of support where people can come and know that, you know, we're going to take it and we're going to help however we can.
So it is an overall and overarching wellness program. We're not talking about just a number on a scale.
Right.
We're not just talking about physical
Right.
health, although that is a very important part of it. And I think a lot of these things may be slightly intertwined.
Oh, yeah.
The more physically active you are, the more mental health you probably
Yeah.
have. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of phases to it, but that's what you guys are all encompassing for.
Yes.
So let's talk about if somebody was interested in starting up this prescription for your health program. What is step number one for them?
Well, the design of the program has been so that there are multiple entry points. So it can be different scenarios. It can be someone goes to see their doctor for a checkup and says, I'm really worried about some lab work results or, something like that. And the doctor may say, well, if you increase your physical activity, that may make a difference in that. And so that can start that conversation. The doctor can refer them to the program if they so desire or introduce it there in the office. Some people hear about the program and they'll walk into the gym and say, I want more information about this prescription for your health program. So then we would just provide them with the paperwork and get a hold of their doctor. What I have found, because the program was already happening for a while before I came into the program, the person in my position, Bonnie, had retired from the position and they were looking for someone, and it was just a really neat fit for me. But what I have found time and time again is there was so much intentionality behind the program. It was designed to try to decrease barriers, so someone may, again, get that prescription in the doctor's office from their doctor. Does their doctor have to be here? No. They didn't want to restrict that either when they designed the program. So even if someone has a doctor at the Veterans Affairs, wherever it is, we would just inform their doctor about the program if they don't already know about it, and then ask them if they're comfortable writing a prescription for the program.
It is interesting you mentioned a doctor's referral, because when talking with, some of the administrators here, when we were getting set to do a podcast about this prescription for your health, we were asking, where did this thing come from?
Yeah.
And Doug Bentz said, well, it kind of came out of the mind of Scott Duffy, honestly, who was writing prescriptions for his patients to go to the fitness complex.
Yes.
And
exactly.
so from that bore out this entire program. But it is interesting that that's how it began, and to see where it is now. And I still say would be in the infancy stages, maybe. I know it's been happening, but
it's been
right now we're just doing some marketing and some PR to try to get people to understand that that's here.
Yeah, and I think the leadership team wanted to take some time to just make sure that it was something that was working and up and rolling. So we are collecting some information to make sure our program is being effective. And we're at the place, I think, that leadership says, it's probably time to share this story, because we feel comfortable with it. We think the proof of concept is there. It is something, that is making a difference, and it may not be something with any cultural shift. I mean, you're looking at 10 years or something like that. So this is an ambitious thing. We know it's not going to happen overnight, but we see that we're making a difference on an individual basis every day.
I feel like the hope may be a domino effect, or like a snowball. Once a little bit of it is shown. And again, our goal with the podcast is we're going to hopefully be able to talk with some of the participants in this program. And there are some success stories early on in this program. There are a few that we'd like to get on if we can, to just tell their story about. And again, it is so human, because it's not just you got in here and everything was perfect.
Right.
Talking with Doug Bentz, even he says, he's been on this journey for a couple years now, and he says still I have moments when I don't do what I'm supposed to do, but it's that consistency that it's a lifelong change. You said it's a lifelong change. It's not something that you're just going to do for a month and be done with.
A lifestyle.
This is a lifestyle change, and I think the reason it can be so effective is because of the types of information that you all will be getting to the clients or the patients or whoever they may be. You're showing them so much more than a number on a scale.
Yes.
And I talked with Kyle Raines about this. He is the director of the fitness center. And I said, all too often in my existence, I've seen people chase a number on a scale. Morning and night, 3 times a day, once every day, whatever it may be. He was talking about that in-body scanner that you can actually dig deeper into the numbers. And so being able to provide that information to the client or the patient is vastly important because they can see different types of changes. You may have somebody who's dealing with diabetes, and there is so much information that you guys can provide those patients within this program.
Right. Absolutely. And I think you hit it. I mean, sometimes people will even say, I feel different, but the scale's not changing. And so that's really confusing and can be self-defeating
Yes.
or frustrating when someone's putting an effort into their health and wellness and not seeing that right off the bat. So we have developed some really good resources, and just the intentionality of also having resources regarding nutrition, I think, is so important as well too, because otherwise sometimes you're self-sabotaging, all kinds of things can play into that. So
And I think that, again, people don't know what they don't know sometimes.
yeah.
You may think you're doing plenty in the gym, and as
Yeah,
you said, you
sure.
may not know that you're just sabotaging that with
Yeah.
whatever diet you may be on. So again, the information that you guys have developed and have available to these people is
Yes.
invaluable to them when you're talking about a full lifestyle change
Right.
and a full change in our entire lifestyle of our community.
Yes.
It is a big, big task that you guys have really just run head on into, I think. And the numbers early are already, as you said, starting to show. But this is going to be a long-term deal, as you said, with a change, a seed change in an entire community. So it could be 10 years.
Sure.
But that's the opportunity that you guys have provided here. And now is the time for you guys to start promoting the heck out of this thing. And this is one reason we have you here for the podcast, because we want people to know how truly easy it is to start this thing. So
Yeah.
you said, I said, well, how do you get started? Well,
Yeah.
there's multiple ways.
Right.
Here's the next question that people always want to know.
I'm ready.
How much does it cost to do this? It's all about the money.
Such good news. This is so easy to answer. It's all free. And again, it was created that way to reduce barriers for people. So no excuse, Yeah, you got to get here, if you want to utilize the gym or utilize some of our other resources and services regarding nutrition and health coaching and that sort of thing. But you don't have to pay for it. And matter of fact, we've had some programs that will incentivize some of those behaviors. So you're no excuse. We have no excuse.
Yeah, it's free.
It is.
That is always the best cost of it. And you talked about, you have to make it here. There are avenues, by the way, in our communities
Yes.
for people who may not have their own transportation. In fact, when we walked in here today, Little Canal Bus was picking up one of their clients, and they were into the fitness center.
Right.
So there are opportunities there, and you guys are breaking down those barriers for people. And
Hopefully.
it's almost as if you're revealing the no excuses format to this community. Like, yeah, you can get here.
Yeah.
Well, how much? It's free.
Right.
Well, yeah, you can do that as well. So you're canceling out excuses for people, but
Hopefully
still,
making it more accessible.
Yes.
That's the idea. Yes. To make it accessible.
still there are people who that first step is very difficult
Sure.
for.
Absolutely.
How or have you guys started to attack that in trying to, I don't know how you do that, in trying to break down the barrier of people walking through the door.
Yeah.
The first step is usually the most difficult, whether people are embarrassed, shy, don't know what's going on, don't know where to start.
Yes.
How do you guys approach that in this community?
Yeah. Even just the idea or thought of going to the gym sometimes makes people a little bit uncomfortable. So it depends on how we get to know that the person may be interested. And sometimes we're just out in the community, maybe we'll have a table set up somewhere and they'll say, what is this prescription for your health? So that's a good way to introduce it. A lot of times we meet people for the first time in our office. So it's in an office setting, and we can go over the program, tell them what to expect, and then start to introduce them to some of the resources. So, the gym being one of those that's offered for free. It may be that they don't like going into a gym and using equipment. So we have we have group classes, medical fitness classes. So, and then sometimes people will learn that we have a small pool that is utilized for water aerobics and physical therapy and that sort of thing. And so we try to lay out some different options and figure out what it is that makes sense to them, what they're comfortable with starting out in the beginning, and just make a plan individualized based upon that.
And I think the way that you guys assess them originally and talk about the assessments, and then
Yeah.
if you can just get them involved for a few weeks
Yeah.
or maybe that first quarter,
Yeah.
and then give them the new assessment data that you have. I think that the classes are such a vital role in this,
Yes.
because there are people that the gym is just this big ugly beast that is so scary to them.
Yeah.
But maybe you get a friend or two and you go to a yoga class, or you go to a aerobics class, whatever it may be that you guys offer, trying to break down the fear
Yes.
of starting
Yeah.
is a very important part for you guys.
It is. And we have support along the way, 100%. The staff that work in the gym, they're awesome. If someone wants to learn something or try something new, they're really good to take care of people and just kind of be there, give them a little orientation, whatever is important. Same thing with our office. We try to really be accommodating as best we can, because we know it is hard for people to step in the door sometimes. And so when they do come, we want to be inviting and we want to help support them however we can.
So speaking of that, once they get in the door,
Yeah.
a question that people may ask is, well, I'm in this program now. What are my requirements? Do I have to show up every day? What is
Right.
required of me
Right.
in this program? Are there requirements, or are there more
Sure.
suggestions?
Right. Are there fine print sort of things?
Yeah, you sign your name on the dotted line.
Yes, exactly. So the program is driven by the patient's doctor primarily. So their doctor may have certain recommendations for an overall plan of care, very general things like taking your medicine as prescribed, coming to your appointments, maybe getting a flu shot if that's something that's part of your plan and you're able to do. Along with that, most doctors will recommend some sort of physical activity at least twice a week. So typically that's something that is utilized in our medical fitness center, And again, physical activity, some people come from other counties, into the program, and so they can only make it here once a week or that sort of thing. So we try to accommodate that. They may be walking at home, doing some things at home the other day of the week.
Yeah.
So there are benefits of the program. As far as requirements, typically that would just be part of the requirement is we want you to participate in the program. If we don't hear from you for a while, we're going to try to reach out to you. And that's not to say, hey, what, like, where are you?
There's not going to be Gestapo tactics, all right?
It's a form of support. I called someone a while back to check in with them that we hadn't seen in a while. And she said, oh, I knew this call was coming. Am I kicked out of the program? And I said, absolutely not. The call is to just check in. And if someone says, hey, I'm in Florida vacationing all summer, I'll say, awesome. Like, we'll see you when you get back, sort of thing. So once the doctor prescribes the program, it's good for one full year.
Okay.
If they choose to continue the program, if it's something that they're seeing benefit from, they can just ask their doctor for another prescription for another program cycle. So we have some individuals that have been in the program for 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
So it can be a maintenance sort of health program as well too.
Well, how nice is it for you personally and your team and the group who is involved in this to see some of those success stories early on? I was talking with, again, Kyle Raines, who he's involved directly with the fitness center. So he sees these people sometimes daily. And he was talking to us about some of the very early success stories. He said, we've got some of our champions of this program already.
Yeah.
How nice is it to see, obviously data is data and you want to see numbers, but being able to just with your eyes interact with some of these people who have made these changes has got to feel good.
Yeah, I think it's inspiring. I think when you put something good out there, it's bound to get something good back. And it's very encouraging. Again, we may not be to the point that we're seeing that huge community shift in overall health and wellness, But just seeing that things are happening for individuals it's a privilege to be able to see that.
One of the other questions that people may often ask is, well, I'm involved in the program.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for my family? Can my family join this? This seems to me to be an individual thing in that, well, are you an individual, or is your family member can still do this, right?
Right, absolutely. The Medical Fitness Center accepts kids that are 13 and older. So that's kind of the cap when we come to participation for the program for the most part. And it is something, sometimes we'll have like couples that come in for nutrition education together because they live together. One individual may have diabetes, for instance. And so the spouse is, there to kind of hear those things and say, okay, so this is how we can make this work. So it is something that can really incorporate the family, and we do have families that come in together. It's really nice to see some of the teenagers to come in as well too. So we're looking at different generations. It's not just a program that's for older adults that are retired and that sort of thing, because that is a lot of our population in Roane County, it seems like. But it's also for that younger generation to kind of
childhood obesity in West Virginia and in Roane County. The numbers are not good at the moment, so it's good to be able to provide that. And one of the things I like about Roane General Hospital in general, whether it be this prescription for health program, is you guys again are a community-based hospital. You guys provide other opportunities for kids who may not be able to go to the fitness center, but this Patch and Jack Garrett Ford and Roane General Hospital Racing Series that you guys do, partnering with Patch for all these outdoor activities for these kids is just another way that you guys can kind of catch them before even they're ready for prescription for your health.
Possibly. And we know that health does not just happen in a gym, so we want to create that idea and aspect that it's going for a walk, it's talking to a good friend, those sorts of things.
And again, this overarching program, it involves, as you said, physical activity. It involves mental health. It involves nutrition. That is something we have not really touched on much, but nutrition is 1,000% important when it comes to trying to make lifestyle changes in the long run. So you guys have some nutritionists, some dietitians in this program as well that can work with people.
We definitely have some resources, and that may be a separate podcast for us as well too. But that is, everyone that comes into the program has access to nutrition education right off the bat. And Vicky is the individual that provides that. She's wonderful, and she's wonderful at making it realistic. And we know that we're a community that we like our meat and potatoes, that sort of thing. And that's one of the things that she'll say, if you're going to a birthday party, you're probably going to eat the cake, let's make this, realistic and figure out how to make this work. And that's one thing that I really like about this program as well, too. Just trying to meet people where they are, we're not experts coming in and saying, oh, you need to when we're not considering our culture, our community, the people and how we live and what resources we do have and don't have access to.
Well, that's another thing I love about this program and the way you guys have designed it. You guys are local people who live in this community. It eases some of the burden that people may feel about coming in and talking about things that are uncomfortable to them. They see a familiar face. They see a person who is humanizing this situation. And it really is a welcoming program for people who may feel just not particularly confident about this whole thing. And that's what you guys are here to do, is put a familiar face on it and put a welcoming face to this program that is an absolute gem in this county. I hope you continue to cut your nose off to spite your face here.
I do too.
Again, preventative medicine.
Yes.
We can call it medicine if you want to. I mean, it's just health and wellness. On the front end. In order to try to combat some of the problems in Roane County. Kimberly Mertz, thank you
Sure.
very much. We're going to talk
Thank
to you
you.
again on another podcast. We're going to switch your hat off from director to
Okay.
a wellness coach.
Okay.
A wellness coach or a life coach we'll talk about that next time. Until
We'll
then,
settle that.
thanks to Kimberly Mertz, director of
Thank
the
you.
Prescription for Your Health program. And we will be back with another podcast here for Roane General Hospital's Prescription for Your Health and For Your Health.